I'm saying Carry On rather than like Carry On. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I'm like Carry On, like the poster, like whatever, Carry On. This is like a Carry On bag. So Ricky, you saw this movie, correct?
I did. I did. This is what I've been watching. Carry On. A Carry On. I watched Carry On.
What was your anticipation level at? I was kind of in the mindset, this is a Netflix streaming movie. I'm tempted by Jason Bateman almost more than Taron Egerton in this movie. I was anticipating, I got a little more Christmas vibe than I was expecting. Maybe it just went over my head with the promotion, but that kind of shocked me. But overall, I was just like, hey, this could be a nice action thriller on a Saturday night. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. But I want to know what was your anticipation before you saw it?
We're Jason Bateman guys. Speaking of guys, he's
That's a
one of our
yeah.
guys.
Mm-hmm.
So this was I was looking at his IMDb and I was like, he hasn't really been doing like a lot. Like he was in Air last year. He's been in a couple other stuff that
Very good in there.
like that, like the Outsider TV show he starred in. We liked Game Night, but that was back in 2018. Right now he's directing and starring in that TV show with Jude Law, Black Rabbit. So like he's kind of been doing that and less acting. So every time there's a Jason Bateman project at the helm, I feel like I have to watch it just because he's one of our guys. So that's kind of like what I was looking for in this movie. And my anticipation level is like everything he's in, he's solid, right? And he's usually just Jason Bateman. And for the most part here, he was just Jason Bateman, but in a villainous way, which we don't really see a lot. But still, he's Jason Bateman, and he's consistent every time he's on screen, right? And this is no different. So yeah, I was expecting like a little bit better than a normal Netflix movie, and this definitely was like without a doubt. But it is like kind of went as expected, I think.
Jason Bateman has kind of transformed as an actor, where someone I didn't care about in a supporting role, usually in like frat pack comedies in the mid 2000s, to him like being the the straight man in a lot of alongside like a Charlie Day or Jason Sudeikis in Horrible Bosses, and him becoming known as that personality, starring in a couple comedies. But ever since he did Ozark, his taste has gotten better. And he's worked with not only like he's creating projects, but he's also starring in Air, and he's having like impactful scenes in Air. And following Ozark kind of frees him up. Black Rabbit, I'm sure it's highly anticipated. I'm sure it's going to be great. Jude Law is going to make an appearance on the podcast today. But then him doing this movie, this was the spicy role. This is the one that you wanted, as opposed to a TSA agent that is Taron Egerton. We're going to talk about his career. But Jason Bateman is someone that I knew was going to kill this. I knew he was going to be great. Him taking the deadpan delivery he usually has in comedies and just taking it to a even more serious degree for this, I knew he would be good in this role because he would be great without even being shown much on screen. He would be great just as the person speaking, the person trying to get a bomb through security. He's talking to Taron Egerton with a headpiece on. That he has the voice where he can almost just do voice acting and kill it. And he was pretty good in terms of the physicality, in terms of like the look. I think he pulled it off. I just think right now I wouldn't have bought Jason Bateman doing this 10 years ago, but now it's like I want to see more from Jason Bateman in like villainous type roles.
Yeah, yeah, and his dry like comedy, like his style there, and he's very
He mixed it in here.
yeah, he's very condescending. Like it works really well for this character. It really did. So his character worked, even though we don't really know who he's working for, even though they kind of tell us at the end. Like we didn't really get a good backstory for that character, unfortunately. But overall, like Jason Bateman did do well and kind of like this mysterious villainous role.
That's where this movie kind of was like a mindless action thriller. You didn't like, you just knew he was bad. You knew he was pure villainy, and he isn't a terrorist. He's doing a job for a terrorist, but technically that makes you a terrorist. So like, I don't know. To me, it's like you didn't have to go too deep into it because honestly, didn't care as much about it. Didn't really care. There was a lot of technology that needed to be explained, but they didn't care to do it. This felt like a mindless action thriller that, once again, great for a popcorn Saturday night. Taron Egerton, interesting. Interesting, I think, here. First off, when he popped on screen, he started talking with an American accent. I was floored
I was the
because
same way.
I don't think I've ever heard him speak in an American accent. I've known him for Eggsy and Elton John. And then he comes in here, and then I thought he actually had the English accent for the first line he had, and then he went American the entire rest of the way. It's almost like he was undecided, but that was jarring. And also how it's just you've played a centerpiece of a franchise, you played one of the greatest rock stars of all time, and now you're playing a TSA agent looking for a promotion in a Netflix action thriller. I don't think this is where he wants to be right now. I think he still was good in this movie, and I think the action scenes at the end, they were trying to make you think you were watching a Mission Impossible movie at points, But I just think it's a weird career move that he did this, but I did find it enjoyable.
Yeah, he's in a weird spot. He really is. I like Blackbird, like I liked him in Blackbird, not an English accent in that either, by the way. But I was still kind of expecting one in this, even though obviously like I
You
knew he
just see
wasn't
him, and
going
you're
to
like, "That's England right there,"
like Eggsy, like British, like that's what you think, right? So I don't know. So going back to his career, I guess. So he does the Blackbird, he does Tetris, so he does the double Apple TV Plus in 2022 and 23. And it's like, all right, he's trying to be a leading man post Eggsy, post Rocket Man. But like after like a biopic like that, and he won a Golden Globe, didn't get nominated at the Oscars. But usually when an actor has success with that type of role, they catapult as an A-lister. And he's been kind of like flimsy, where he's now doing Netflix action movies. And he's not really the most interesting person in this movie. I really thought Jason Bateman was more interesting, and we didn't really get a lot from him. But I digress. And now when you look at Taron Egerton's career going forward, you have another TV series that is a thriller. It's about a detective. You have a freaking girl marked for death, must fight and steal to stay alive movie. She rides shotgun. You have an action movie with Charlize Theron. That's pretty cool, but still action again. So instead of that normal biopic elevation, he's more doing like, oh, I'll just star in these action movies. Like the guy who did this movie, like what's his name? I forget. But he did
Is it Jean Colette Serra? Is that who it
yeah,
was?
yes. So he did Black Adam, but he's famous for pairing up with Liam Neeson for like The Commuter, Run This Town or whatever. So like I'm afraid Taron Egerton's going the Liam Neeson route a little bit with the action star.
It's so weird because he doesn't look like an action star. He's like my height, and we're short kings. I put me and Taron Egerton in the same fraternity, and he basically is trying at the end of this movie to be John McClane. Like he's trying to be Die Hard by the end of this with the Christmas vibe and everything like that. I don't think that's him, and it's just weird to me. Jason Bateman, obviously, that's when you're playing a villain in these type of movies, it's going to be a little bit easier. You're a little bit more one dimensional, and then Taron Egerton's playing a lot of the emotions, and he's also like interacting with the most people, carrying the movie. But the character is just not interesting because it's a TSA agent who failed to be a cop. That's like it's like you're like it feels like Die Hard. Like it feels like Die Hard a little bit,
This is a Die Hard spinoff or like
and
knockoff.
and this is I did want to talk about this really quick. This movie, this is more of a it almost feels like it's trying so hard to be Die Hard, and how it's basically people are kneeling to the idea, or they're giving in to Die Hard being a Christmas movie, and they're like, okay, we're going to make this an action movie, we're going to release it during December, and we're going to add a lot of things to the script that will provide some lightheartedness and will be constant Christmas reminders. The soundtrack will be Christmas tracks only. I didn't know that going in, so I thought it was just weird how I was just anticipating on watching an action thriller, and all of a sudden I get like Darlene Love at the end of the movie, and then a bunch of other Christmas tracks. I thought it was just like they're obviously playing on the idea of Die Hard being a Christmas movie, but they're trying too hard in my eyes.
Yeah, they forced it a little bit. I think they forced it a little bit. But going back to anticipation levels or expectations for this movie, that's kind of what I was expecting.
You were anticipating the Christmas like implementation.
Yeah, like right when we saw this trailer, me and you said right away, like this is like Die Hard.
Yes, but I didn't literally mean because like Die Hard is a Christmas movie that doesn't like embrace Christmas is just happening on Christmas.
Right.
This one is embracing Christmas, but it's really not about Christmas to me.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Die Hard embraces Christmas a little bit. You got the wrapping paper and a pivotal scene.
I don't think
Yeah.
it's in the script all the time that it's Christmas time. I don't know. Maybe Die Hard because they also do like the flashing to McLean's family at home and they show them like with the Christmas decorations, like waiting and stuff. So I guess it does. But it didn't feel like Die Hard was trying to be a Christmas movie. This one felt like it was trying to be one you put in the rotation, you can put on Netflix for the Christmas time, but also has a little bit of action juice to it.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. It's kind of tough for us. Like this won't be in the rotation without a doubt. I see what you're saying though, but when they're like at the beginning saying like Happy Christmas, and at the end they try to connect it. They have the Bruce Springsteen Christmas song at the beginning and the intro credits, and then you have the Christmas Darling Love, like you said. Like they are trying to push it, but it ain't working. It ain't working.
You could just do this with like planes, trains, and automobiles and do a play on that, but it's obviously that's a comedy. This is an action thriller. This movie, I think, got really exciting by the second half, but I think honestly, my favorite parts of it were like the earpiece part and Jason Bateman initiating conversation with Taron Egerton and having him on his toes and the quips that he's throwing in. I thought those were really good. The action scenes, they're playing on Die Hard, but they're playing on Mission Impossible in this movie. When Taron Egerton is like wearing a black shirt and he's running with the high hands and the score sounds so similar to Mission Impossible, I'm like, they want you to think Mission Impossible while you're watching this. And we're like, this is a TSA agent. It's not Ethan Hunt. It's just to me, like the story is so ludicrous, I just
They reminded you 1,000 times he ran track in high school.
yeah, he had good form. He had good form. So I liked him. And sneaky good cast for this movie, by the way. Not only Bateman and Egerton, Dean Norris from Breaking Bad in this movie, the boss of Taron Egerton, Logan Marshall Green as I don't want to give anything away, but he's an FBI agent. He's an FBI or he's an agent, some type of agent. And then
from Homeland.
And then potential Oscar nominee Daniel Denweiler's in this movie. Like, what the hell? Like, random people showing up in here, but also like, hey, I get it. You're trying to like, you want people to watch this. You want people to take this seriously. But I just thought it was like, you're like Logan Marshall Green having nothing to do in this movie. Really, it's like weird. You're like having two scenes in this movie. I'm like, is that Logan Marshall Green? I was pointing at the screen. I'm like, I know he's not an A-lister, but I feel like he could be leading one of these like streaming movies. But here we are, Upgrade, what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say like Upgrade, like one of the better movies in the 2010s. That's like in this genre, the action genre, right? That's more of a revenge thriller, but still, um, weird cast, like a good cast, but weird because you feel like they're except Jason Bateman, like are they all in the right spots? Like Taron Egerton, like clearly is in the right spot, but like I still don't think he's there for me as like a good actor that can actually like control all the emotions that you were talking about and just carry the story. I think he's serviceable. I don't think he's amazing, right? And I guess that's all you need in an action movie, right? It's just be serviceable. But then you have like Theo Rossi.
Yeah, the guy from Penguin.
Yeah, like him being like a henchman here versus probably in a normal bad Netflix action movie, he's probably the main villain. Kind of says this movie's a little better than a normal Netflix movie.
To have him in such a right hand man of the main bad guy, that to me is like, wow, this guy's like seems a bit overqualified for the position here. Right. And is that only because of what we just saw with the Penguin? He's in a prestige show and now he's in this. Maybe he shot this beforehand. I have no idea. Probably didn't shoot it beforehand. The Penguin had been up for release for a long, long time. I just don't want this guy as Scarecrow like the Penguin may have teased and like they're saying could happen in the Reevesverse if he's this character. He did look the part though in this movie. Like he looked like the guy in the chair like you would see in like Die Hard. He was good. He was good for that role.
Yeah, he was good. I always think of Sons of Anarchy for him, and he's a very small character in that, but a consistent very minor supporting character. So like in almost every episode. So, but yeah, then you obviously mentioned Daniel Deadweiler. He's going to be maybe nominated for an Oscar this year, just in this detective role, which is absolutely outlandish, but you just go along with it. And that leads me to what I wanted to bring up, which is the car scene.
Oh my God.
Absolutely like out of place scene in this movie, but I didn't hate it.
It's when it became an action movie. You know,
Yeah,
it was a thriller in the first half, but after that car scene, that camera was doing laps. That camera was working during that scene, like the way it was hanging upside down, it's slamming the car side to side. I felt like I was getting a little nauseous watching it, but that's when I'm like, okay, now we are switching to action movie now.
right. And but one last thing with Dean Norris, dude, I don't feel like he's in a lot of stuff.
No, he's living off Breaking Bad, only just not noticeably not shown on social media as much as Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul.
Yeah, because like, I'm looking at his IMDb. He's in 2 episodes of Ghosts. I think he's in 9 episodes of Law and Order Organized Crime. So I guess he's probably just doing the TV circuit. Oh yeah, he did Claws TV series from 2017 to 2022 with a bunch of episodes. Yeah, he just bounced around TV series that weren't successful or like weren't our cup of tea, I would say.
Yeah, he is someone that maybe you want to do a couple more things because your claim to fame is obviously Breaking Bad. And like when I think of him in Breaking Bad, I think of him sitting on the toilet, opening up the book, sitting on the
Meme.
in the back. That's what I
Yeah.
think of every single
Yeah.
time. So you might want to like add something so it's not the only thing that like people hear your name, they think of you on the toilet. That's what I do for Dean Norris. Okay. You want any scores for this? You want to give a score?
68 out of 100 for me.
Yeah, I was a 69. Nice.